I'm Robert van Dormael. I'm Vice President Marketing for EMEA and Asia for Harman International.
I'm Jouke Vuurmans, the Chief Creative Officer at Media.Monks. So Robert.
Hello Jouke.
How are you doing?
Good.
How is Kent for you?
Well, so far it's been rainy.
It's weird, right? First time actually that I'm here that it's raining.
No, so I already apologize to everybody at the team that we brought the rain from the Netherlands.
We Dutchies brought the rain.
The rain, yes, exactly. No, so far so good. A lot of interesting meetings. Great to catch up with the creative team and at Havas. Great to see you here in Cannes. So no, happy to be here.
Nice. Have you seen any of the winning work?
So we're going to go around after this. Yep. So we need to make sure that we soak in all of that before we leave tomorrow morning.
Good inspiration.
Yes, exactly.
You have an amazing career. First Philips, now at Harman. 15 years now. Anniversary?
In June, I guess. Yeah, something like that. Nice. At the end of the month. Yeah.
But from what I could see and what we talked about already, it's been a pretty amazing journey. Lots of growth, lots of differences. Yeah. Can you elaborate a little bit? What was that path like?
Yeah, I think that what was really a milestone change for us as an organization is that we were at the starting line with the right product in the right moment when Bluetooth came up. And so I think it's no secret or it's common knowledge that if you look at portable speakers, Harman or JBL is a very dominant market player globally. And so with the whole wireless revolution of 2010, 11 and 12, both from a speaker perspective as well as headphones, the business absolutely exploded, mostly under the JBL brand. Harman Kardon is obviously a very important and brand on our side as well, but JBL and especially on the portable side and the headphone side in those early days really made us sort of propel to the size of company we have become.
Massive relevance for consumers specifically.
Yeah.
And also one of the most, I would say, almost accessible and interesting products in that product space.
A very visible product. So rather than the home audio speakers that we were selling under the JBL brand in the 70s and the 80s and the 90s, all of a sudden you had a brand that was way out there in parks, beaches, pools, people on subways, biking, running, going to the gym. So a home audio brand. For the most part became a very public brand. Yeah.
So that's interesting because the brand changed. Obviously, probably also changed the whole internal organization around the marketing operation.
Yeah.
Different tactics, different strategies.
Yeah. JBL is obviously relevant in the pro domain as well. So it's, we have a large professional audio division, stadiums and airports and whatnot, concert halls. JBL is a very big brand in the automotive world, but for the consumer business, 12, 13 years ago, a lot of things changed because of what I call the Bluetooth revolution.
What were the big tentpole marketing moments in those 15 years for you that you felt like that was pivotal for us as a brand? Obviously relevance, you already mentioned it.
Yeah.
But how did the marketing kind of evolve with that?
Yeah, the great question. I think that what we've realized early on is that we have a heritage of selling entertainment, and we've been doing so for 7, 8 decades already. And I think that as a team, we definitely wanted to make sure that we walk the talk, right? So if you sell entertainment, then that should also come through in your marketing activities. And if I look at events like proprietary events like JBL Fest that we had in the United States or JBL Snow Party here in Europe, those are proprietary events with a large customer marketing angle where we would activate together with key accounts, have buy and win activities, and over time this evolved in more of a media platform where you invite creators, influencers. We use those platforms to launch products. We bring customers, prize winners, but also sponsored events like Tomorrowland. It doesn't get any bigger than Tomorrowland. It's a great team to be collaborating with, including ambassadors. I think right now Martin Garrix, for example, is a great example of somebody that we have deep relations with, not your standard celebrity or ambassador collaboration, but much deeper in the context, for example, of the JBL Music Academy. We can talk about that a little later if you want.
I like the Music Academy. I think it was one of the recent tentpoles that I've seen. Also like the Roblox one. So if I look at JBL and how you're doing it, I like the cultural component to it. You're really, to your point, like native, walk the walk, which I think is smart. And it's not just ambassadorship. Like Martin Garrix, maybe we can talk a little bit about that program, because it's more deeper, right? You go further than purely the typical marketing. You actually use them in the
if you look at, our position right now is making voices heard, right? Be authentic and genuine in the way that we connect with microcultures. Microcultures like gamers, for example, but also microcultures of people that aspire to become a musician, an artist. And you can then, where does our responsibility stop and start as a company that provides recording studios, cinema sound? I mean, we are audio, we are recording, we are entertainment. What can we do for this aspiring micro community of artists? And so that's what we discussed with Martin. Is there anything that we can do together that would help people sort of go after those aspirationals and career aspirations? And that's where the Music Academy came from, where we provide a platform for talent. And the way that we do it is we ask them to submit a track or a song, and this is happening from all over the world. People are submitting content.
It's all already existing artists, or do they? It's also started.
No. The interesting thing is that a lot of them are, because of the program, are daring to step forward and to see where they can take where they want to go.
Oh wow!
And there's a lot of submissions from I think the last time, and my team should keep me honest, I think something like 38 countries or so that submitted. And we do a selection, and ultimately out of that selection, 20 or so are making their way to Martin's recording studio in Amsterdam for a couple of days immersion with him. Mentorship and whatnot. So a great program.
I can also imagine there's a lot of interesting differences and diversity in the submissions that you can play into, like all the different places you are.
Absolutely. Musicians, singers, obviously a lot of aspiring DJs because of Martin himself. And I'm proud to say that one of the finalists of the Martin Garrix JBL Music Academy 2023 has been offered a contract by Garrix. So she's now part of his label.
Oh, that's walking the walk.
Exactly.
That's a true testament. Nice.
Absolutely.
How do you make sure that, because these are like the micro cultures that you call them, how do you make sure that it always have a sort of halo effect to the more global brand? Because you're obviously pretty specific for a specific audience. But what I like about it is you kind of have the visibility. Even I'm not in the microculture, but it comes across. Do you have like a way of organizing or a central kind of brand management that you make sure that all these programs are really tied together? Yeah.
So what we do as a marketing leadership team is coming together twice or 3 times a year to make sure that we discuss what's happening in the 6 months after, or even renegotiate some of the contracts that are in place with these ambassadorships, because those are longer term commitments, and making sure that we stay true to our values as a brand, our brand positioning of making voices heard, and then challenge each other if all of what we are proposing is laddering up to what we as a brand want to promise and deliver. And at the same time, we are in an organization that is very autonomously organized, which is part of our success. So by strong collaboration and challenging one another, I think we've come together and coming together with a calendar of events and ambassadors and activities that all ladder up to delivering against that brand promise.
So there's good internal organization around that, at least. Like
absolutely.
That's impressive, because you just called out the amount of different countries people submit to the academy, but that also means there's lots of cultural nuances, at least.
Absolutely.
There's differences even between those markets. So in your structure, it sounds like you have great alignment, but really clear autonomy to make sure that there's cultural relevance in each of the continents.
Absolutely. And I do have to say that when you look at the Music Academy, music is so international. Music isn't necessarily always culturally specific, right? So whether you are a DJ from Brazil or a DJ from South Africa or a DJ from the Netherlands or Scotland, somehow EDM, electronic dance music, is sort of so there's differences. But the wonderful thing about music, it's probably some of the best ways of bringing cultures together.
Absolutely. The unifying effect indeed. While there also is some interesting, obviously style-wise, but also some cultural differences that make interesting even collaborations potentially possible. This is a nice thing with the academy. You bring it all together. I can see Martin playing a nice role there, filtering it out. Around another piece of work I would love to chat a little more about, because I think it's showing something interesting around the future. It's the Roblox world. We've coming from probably 2 years ago that everybody was talking about metaverse, and we were here, and I wasn't judging them, but was the buzzword of the century. What I've seen is that it's the industry trend. Everybody jumps on it, even though it was completely not the right medium, the right audience, the right brand. So it's completely out of context. So I'm pretty interested to hear more about your strategy towards it, because you launched it recently. So let's say after the trend. So
when my team came to me a couple of years ago, I think 2.5 years ago, and say, listen, we need to entertain the idea of entering into Roblox. I went like, what? I'm not a gamer. And so, but I was immediately intrigued, because when they started to explain to me why we should entertain an entry into Roblox, it dawned on me that it felt like social media 3.0. Right, so whether we call it metaverse or what, but if you look at one of the most important KPIs for our creative strategy is to stop the scroll. So if you see how we use our phones, stop the scroll. What do you need to do to make people stop swiping? And with Facebook, it's very one-on-one. It's very one-dimensional. With Instagram, it's a little better because it's video and whatnot. But Roblox, it's a community, right? You're coming together in a digital space, in a safe space. What we found out is that there's a lot of youngsters, I would say, or at least Gen Z, that for them their digital identity is as important as their real life identity, right? So if you see what people do with avatars, there's a whole world out there that is so important for us to understand how people engage with one another, and especially in a time of COVID, it felt like you were able to go somewhere and be with friends. And I think Roblox provided that opportunity. And if I look at it from a marketing KPI perspective, people spend a lot of time on there with each other. And so from an engagement perspective, I'm very happy with what I see from a results perspective. So it's an interesting platform, and we have a very authentic presence there, JBL Land, with connections to our in real life activities as well. So
I think it comes back also to your point of being more of an entertainment brand. I think there's more authenticity around being in those spaces, providing those worlds. So I think we've seen a lot of brands that completely don't match with that space. JBL definitely, obviously, it's depending on what you offer. But it's interesting to see that you're so engaged in it. And is there a component around also reaching new audiences for you? Like finding complete new emerging trends? And,
what we do is, and again, it's a learning, it's a journey. We launched JBL Land in February. What we've added are in real life events like JBL Snow Party in Val Thorens in the French Alps in April, and then have a Roblox version there. We had Martin Garrix perform in France, but he was also performing in Roblox. So there's a connection between what we do in the digital space versus the in real life space, and that's also what consumers do, right? You have your in real life self, and your digital self. And for us, it's an amazing platform to try and test things and engage in a very authentic and genuine way with gamers, including music, obviously.
And I assume that there's you have a gamers product range, don't you have?
Yeah.
Like speakers? Yeah, that makes sense.
JBL Quantum gaming headsets. Yeah.
Smart. Maybe there's a nice ending. I like the whole sort of the approach to Roblox, finding new ways, but still being really connected to the global brand. I think it's an amazing achievement because it's tough to do. We live in a new world with a lot of new technology again. Where do you kind of see, if you look currently at your path in the next couple, let's say that's 5 years, how do you see it evolve? What are you looking forward to engage on with JBL in marketing?
Great question, Jouke. I think yesterday I was on an interview panel and I was saying that JBL stands for John B. Lansing. So John founded JBL, and he gave music, he gave sound to the silent movies already in 1927. So fast forward to 2024, almost 100 years, I think we've all seen that music is probably one of the most robust sort of constanten, how we say in Dutch, across all of those decades. That's something that continues, which is why I always love to say we sell entertainment. In this crazy world, there's always music to entertain yourself, to get at rest, at peace. And I think if I look at that trajectory, there will always be new products, there will be innovative technology, but at the end of the day, you're providing a audio quality, a music experience that has been there for decades. And I think that constant is interesting. How we reach consumers will change. It has always changed, and we've always been at the forefront of what the opportunities and possibilities are, and will most certainly continue to do so.
Nice, nice way to say it. Constant of the. It's also a human behavior, right? In this craziness of even not even in our industry, it's just the world itself.
And I think just maybe to close off, which is maybe an interesting example. Our headphone business did really well during COVID because if you all had to stay at home, this is your way to have your own space, to be in your own environment, and we were happy to be able to provide that.
I can attest to that.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you well.
Thank you well.
Thank you well.
Thank you.
Thanks, David.